Hey everyone, Church of STFU, responding to the Laughing Out's very interesting video, which I'll link in the thingy bar. But the question was, given the fact that we're constantly experiencing cell death, if our neurons were dying and being replaced, would that mean that we're still the person down the line? If our entire body's been replaced 5 times by the time where I can't remember the exact number, but let's say if every 10 years all of our cells were replaced, would that mean that we've been 5 different people over 50 years? Kind of paraphrasing. And I think that in a way that question kind of presupposes that there was an entity there in the first place. So when we talk about ourselves and other people, we kind of assume a fixed aspect, because that's how we look at the world. When we look at a chair, we don't think of its current kind of molecular construction. We don't think of that it used to be a tree and that one day it's going to be dust or earth. We think of it as a chair. So we fix everything in time, and we just think of it as one slice of time or one span of time where it's a certain thing. And I think thinking of humans in that way is a perfectly reasonable kind of approximation, because the change that we undergo in a short time frame is quite minuscule. But in fact, when you consider whether it's the truth or not, it's not the truth at all. There is no such thing as me. So I cannot actually die or live unless you kind of redefine that. What I mean to say by that is, rather than being an object that can start to exist and cease to exist, I think humans are more like a process that commences and ceases. So when we're born, a process is started and we take input, we learn things that changes our brain. So we actually reconfigure our neurons and we kill off neurons to streamline the process and become better at things we do, and that's one of the ways in which we learn. And so we're constantly changing. Every input changes us. We become a different person, slightly different, till the next input. So every time, every single instant, we die and we're reborn a slightly different person. And if you add that up over a long time, then it becomes apparent to people and they say, oh, you've changed. But really, we've died countless times since then. We've never been static. We've never been the same entity. But I mean, that's one way of putting it. So we're a process rather than a being. It's a process that starts at one point, and if you're an atheist, then it probably stops at one point. The other question is, does the fact that we spread our genetic material, does that really continue the process? And I would have to say, not really. I mean, if you imagine, we could actually make an exact copy of ourselves, a 100% carbon copy. And that carbon copy would think that they're us, and they would act like us, they would have the same personality. But you could shoot him in the head, and I would continue to exist. So we're not really the same process. We're separate processes. So when it comes to us spawning another living being through reproduction, for example, I think we're actually creating a sub-process. And that sub-process will have its own lifetime before it will cease, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I think that's how existence works out for us. But yeah, in the end, I guess the question is, can you really talk about the process starting and stopping? Where exactly are the limits of that? And it's very difficult to kind of, that's what's personally just kind of blowing my mind still, is when does something begin to be conscious, and what does it mean for unconscious matter to start to begin to be conscious, and for that matter which is then generating consciousness, which is, it's not the matter that's conscious, but it's generating consciousness. It's generating this process which believes itself to be conscious because it's, well, it is in fact conscious, but it believes itself to be a being while it's conscious, and then eventually matter stops sustaining it. And how exactly that arises is really what freaks me out, and it still freaks me out. I've thought about it quite a bit, and I'm sure that if there are any philosophers out there, or someone studying a particular area of the sciences that has somewhere I could go, someone I could read up on that talks about these issues, I would love that, because yeah, it's something that I find very, very confounding and very difficult to talk about. Not in terms of that it upsets me to talk about it, but I almost can't find the words to talk about, which is why this was all a bit of a rambly kind of random kind of talk discussion thingy. But yeah, that's I guess where I'm at with the question, in some respects at least. And this is not going to get any better, so I might as well call it quits here. Alright guys, thanks Laughing Out for a very interesting video, and yeah, if anyone has any input on where I should go to look for more information, please let me know. I will see you guys all later.